The video games industry is one of the most innovative and fastest growing industries in the world. The men and women of this industry work tirelessly to provide entertainment for the masses, and some of these provide the music. Music that we love. Music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves playing those video games. Video games. Music that we love. Music that we listen to when we're enjoying ourselves listening to video games. Video games. Do we even know who these people are? No. Would video games be the same without them? No. What you're about.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Average Giants.
Welcome to the Average Giants today. This is Might Be Giant coming at you with my main man, Average Gamer. And today we're going to be doing something really special for you. We're going to be playing some video games.
What are we going to be playing today, Might Be Giants?
We are going to be playing 4 p.m. and Default Dan.
Which is fun. We have 4 p.m. coming up first. And with us in the Skype call is Boyan, who is one of the developers of 4 p.m.
Hi guys.
Hello.
Oh.
Welcome.
The one and only.
Oh, the one and only. All right. Even better.
No, I mean it was a student project which I basically made for my sort of final year project.
Oh, cool.
My master's degree here.
Wow, and now it's on Steam.
yeah, it's an interesting ride. There was sort of enough people wanting to actually see it come out on Steam, and I said, well, let's try and go through the process, see how Steam Greenlight goes, and sort of learn from it. And yeah, here it is.
Mm-hmm.
How long did it take for you to get through?
Actually, before we do that, would you mind giving us a quick synopsis of the game before we start?
Okay, so basically 4 p.m. is a story about this woman called Caroline, and it's set during one day of her life, and it's the most important day that she'll probably ever have, and she's going through some tough times, and yeah, I mean, don't want to spoil anything or sort of give you any further things.
Cool. Go ahead. Sorry.
I was just about to say, how long was the process of going through Greenlight for you?
Well, I think it took about 10 days to get through Greenlight.
Wow.
So I had basically a trailer because the game wasn't finished yet. It was still sort of basic prototype, and yeah, people sort of seemed to want to see it happen, and yeah, it was quicker than I expected, to be honest. Simply because I thought it was going to be a bit more horror stories about Greenlight.
Yeah, that sounds really fast compared to some other games, even some big games.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was pleasantly surprised. But yeah, so especially because it is a student project, and I really expected that people are either not gonna sort of like it or not gonna have a look at it or anything. So yeah, I was very, very surprised everyone to see it.
Okay, might be a little bit loud. There you go. Let's just turn it down.
Did we just skip through a cutscene?
Nope.
Okay.
No, it's kind of, I think the best experience for it is if people do sort of play it alone and have a look at it, because it is a you have to. There's a lot of details that if you miss, sort of the ending will not make sense or seem a bit sort of coming out of nowhere in a way.
Mm-hmm. Oh, interesting. 6 hours earlier. This is beautiful. What's the game made with? Like
It's
Unity?
Unity.
Oh, wow. It's really good
so
looking Unity.
Well, I mean, I think at the time when I started doing it, I was thinking, because my background before studying game design, I did a lot of film work, cinematography mainly, and I was thinking, I'm sure Unity can look nice. Let's try and get the most out of it. Again, with my very limited knowledge of sort of programming and 3D that basically 2.5 years ago I had no idea what I was doing. Hadn't written a line of code, made anything in Maya, and yeah. You seem to be stuck there, or?
Yeah, my mouse doesn't want to go left and right, just up and down.
It's interesting.
Don't worry, we're good at finding random bugs that only happen to us.
Yeah, I think I've spent the last 2 days fixing different bugs, but this is an interesting one. Looking at the sort of have a bug live on the internet on Twitch is pretty cool.
We'll try this over. That's okay.
Do you have like is it a dual screen setup or something?
Nope.
Strange. Well, let's hope it doesn't happen again.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so basically, 2.5 years ago, I was like, I did a lot of film work. I'm interested in this sort of games thing, and I wanna learn how to make these things and give it a try and do some sort of interactive cinematic storytelling thing.
Indeed.
And yeah, this is what came out. Sort of mixed reviews, which is understandable with these things.
Mm-hmm.
The whole sort of discussion of what it is and whether it should be even classed as a game and things like that.
What is a game? We actually had a game last week that brought up that question too. I personally am of the opinion that I think games can have a lot more meaning than they have in the past. I think that narrative experiences are very important. And you've seen that even in a lot of AAA games. Like even the BioShock series is a great example of having classical kind of narrative experiences in a game or interactive experience kind of setting. Oh, my phone.
Who is the voice actor? The female voice actor?
So there's a few voice actors. We got a few sort of professional actors here in the UK. They are Americans because it was sort of it was quite a hassle to find people who are actually good, decent voice actors and who are Americans in the UK. And not people who are just faking an American accent. It was quite funny to actually try and find someone. And again, it was basically a very limited budget because it was a school project. So it was like £1,500 to make this thing, which is I don't know how many, like 2,000 and a bit dollars, US dollars. With Canadian, it's a bit more, I'm guessing.
It's about 1.78 or something, 1.58 for conversion. So yeah, it'd be around. It'd be at least $2,500.
So in this sort of first section, you are sort of trying to find out who she is and what's going on. And you get a bit of the sort of the backstory of what happened, and there are sort of little clues around the apartment.
I like how even the setup of the apartment, things are not tidy. You've got pillows off the shelf, you've got chairs knocked over. She wakes up with some guy's business card, and she's like, "Who's this guy?" Man, whatever. It's interesting. You're already building the character right away from the very start of it.
And what was the inspiration for the game?
Well, to be honest, there wasn't like a particular thing, and I was looking through. I always went to make like a contemporary story, and then I saw, that actually, up until a few years ago, it was almost impossible to do that and not sort of get, laughed at almost. And then things, like The Arrestor and Gone Home and things like that came along.
Yeah, thankfully.
And like, you can actually do these things, and I'm not comparing myself to those guys. They are sort of in a different league. So I had this story about this woman who's essentially an alcoholic. And I was like, can I make this into a game? I really want to see how to actually. It's a huge challenge. There's this whole thing why she became an alcoholic and the whole backstory of that, and what caused her to be in the current state, and try and make it look and feel as good as possible, and just do something a bit different. have a walking, talking character, do some animation, work with the voice actors, animation. It is all a bit clunky, but it was a student project, so I was like, it was a learning experience, and that's what came out. I mean, I am quite pleased with the end result, but again, I think it's not a AAA studio, and it does have its faults, and everyone was very quick to sort of bash the inconsistencies and some of the problems of it, which is the internet for you. But it's actually a good experience for me because I've never released a game before this. This is sort of my first thing that I've made. So it was like a full-on sort of game development cycle from idea to actually developing, conception, releasing, and distributing it on Steam.
Savvy brought up a good thing, an interesting thing. Yeah, you did what a lot of people would not do. A reflection that actually worked.
Well, it's. I think there are a lot of things here which other people wouldn't do, to be honest. So I was like, I know, you're a student only once. Go for it. Do experiment and just do whatever. And I was like, I really want to see her reflection.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a good way to. It helps the immersion because you're introducing the player as this character too.
Yeah, and so in this club scene, it was like I put in this dance thing. It doesn't really do anything. But it's like, why not dance here in the club?
Totally.
So yeah. This is interesting to have a look.
Bro. Oh god.
We're gonna throw up everywhere. It's the other side. You probably have to go down the stairs. And
Nope, I'm not making it.
The gun up, throw up mini game.
Hey lady, how's it going?
Just find somebody to throw up on.
Yeah.
Right, her.
Oh man. Party hard. This is a really neat area though. I like this. I love the use of the blurred out kind of camera effects because she's supposed to be this alcoholic, so your perspective is just completely off.
This is actually quite interesting because a lot of people have complained about this.
Oh, really?
A lot of people have said that why is it blurry? Why isn't it all sharp? It's making
they
their
don't understand what drinking is.
yeah, I have a feeling that not many people would drink on Steam, which is good. I mean, I'm glad.
yeah, totally. Not many alcoholics, I guess.
It's a really good thing, I think.
Yeah.
But like, I think essentially people were saying that they have these really expensive, PCs and game machines, and then it's all blurry, and they can't get rid of the blur. And so you just like, well, maybe it's intentional, maybe, but I might have to put like a patch with an option to turn it off, although it just ruins the whole thing because the blur is sort of part of the game.
Yeah, I like it. I really like the blur personally. I think it adds a lot to it, but I could see how that could be a good option for some people.
Yeah, and people are sort of feeling nauseated and sick themselves, with this thing, and stuff like that, basically. So,
honestly, this is nothing compared to, for sick factor, compared to like amnesia when you start to go insane. That I was having serious issues with.
Yeah, I mean it's interesting because I did a small prototype with the Oculus Rift for these sort of first-person things.
This would be an interesting Oculus Rift game.
And that was just even without the camera wobble and stuff, you just feel super sick immediately. And like the Oculus nausea is sort of justified here, to be honest. But yeah, it's still it'll need much more work if it is going to come out for the Oculus. We'll see.
I'm James.
So you meet this guy James here, who sort of shows up later on. The sort of little clues, so the business card that you got. So
At the very beginning, yeah.
Where to, miss?
it's almost like a
IGM
sort of
building,
like a
4
mystery
Plymouth
kind of thing.
The pictures in this game, are they stock photos?
Yeah, so basically they're stock photos that I've bought and licensed to use in the game. So in the cab and in the apartment and a few places. Because as soon as you put anything, for any sort of money anywhere, you have to have all the clearances and things for these. And all the music is sort of composed, and the music in the club was given to me by a Bosnian electronic band, and they were more than happy to give it away, and we had to have sort of clearances in the contract with them. And it was sort of a big drop into the even the legal side of game development,
Not recently.
doing it properly and crediting everyone and things like that.
Yeah, that's still a big thing that's going on too, with some developers, how they will just try to cut corners everywhere
No kids?
for a quick buck.
Well,
Let's just say.
people have. There's been some quite sort of mean comments about people claiming that
Folks move.
the game tries to make a quick buck of people, and I sort of looked at this. It is true. As soon as you put any price like $2, $3, or $4.99, in the case of this one, sort of £3 here in the UK, people are going to criticize it for what it is. Simply because they're paying money for
Here we
it.
are.
But there is also a thing of somebody had to put a lot of time into it, and Steam does take 30%, and there's VAT and there's that. So essentially, what you get in the end is not that much. And if I want to continue making these things, you need to have some kind of sort of money coming in.
Yeah, no, that's understandable. I mean, or you could go the way that a lot of people are really starting to hate, is the freemium.
Well, this is the thing. Like, a couple people said, like, why don't you go sort of early access and then improve it as money comes in? But I was thinking, I really don't want to go early access with it,
Sorry, I wasn't.
because it is a short story and it is a student project, and it is sort of like a show reel of what I can do and what I've been trying to do. And I think it's totally sort of legitimate not going for early access, especially with a narrative-driven game. It's kind of like, are you really going to? Is it like an open world game? Are you really going to sort of build stuff upon it, or what's happening here?
Oh, now we got ourselves an office simulator.
Yeah, you can type stuff on the computer.
She's using the force right now to type.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe it's text-to-speech. I don't know where I was last night.
For a proposal. I propose another drink.
It's a pretty good proposal, I think.
Perfect.
Oh,
Yes.
Brick Breaker.
Much better.
Yeah.
Arkanoid for the win.
So this is an interesting one, because even when it was sort of shown early on, there was the whole thing that we talked about before, like, oh, this is not a real game, this is an interactive film and all this stuff. And I was like, there's no gameplay in it, and I said, well, you know what, I'll put some gameplay in it. I'll put the game. Here's the game for you. Have a play, and then and because she is a sort of an alcoholic, and she does sort of slack off at work a lot. This is something which I totally see her sort of playing during the day, alt tabbing the desktop to a game of bricks.
Totally.
So yeah.
I like it though, the attention to detail, and it's one of the things, like when we were in the cab, there's so much detail showing off like the different parts of the taxi, which make it feel like a real cab. But then there is a background, it's blurred out, so you didn't need to put as much detail in that, but it's nice to see exactly where the detail is put in. So it feels like a real office, because we've got a poster board, we even have the hang in there. posters.
Well, I mean, this is another sort of thing with a lot of games that I've been sort of looking at, sort of coming from a film thing, is that a lot of games, everything is in focus, everything is sharp, everything is high res. You know, attention is everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Very few games do sort of this. Look, this is where you should sort of, you know, this is where you should look your attention. Like less is more, simpler. Things are like sort of the textures are flatter even. And to be honest, like a lot of people have taken this negatively as well because they expect to see a certain thing from the game. They don't want to see blur. They don't want to see, you know, depth of field, or they want things to be all sharp, all in focus, because that's what they're used to. And I was really, so I think I was playing. I think it was the Witcher 2, I believe, and I had all the yeah, you got caught.
You go.
And I had all the settings like set to like max.
The rest of the
and
month.
I just the
You're
detail, there was
fired,
too
you
much detail.
drunk.
Like I was talking to this king or something, and there's like all this detail on his like, you know, cape and stuff, and on his crown and the background, and you just don't know where the hell to look. It's an awesome looking game. You know, they've done an amazing job. But I was thinking if they could just turn the detail down, I could focus on this guy's face and on his crown and on the forest behind him, or on the 5 million soldiers everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's for me that was like a real thing, which actually a lot of games have. Like everything is sharp and everything is of the same importance almost, which is really sort of not what I enjoy, and I like to be guided and I like to be shown. Oh, this might be important.
Yeah, this is a lot like Mirror's Edge. If people have played if people have played Mirror's Edge, it's another one that forces you to be first person, like the entire game. And they have very minimalistic style for a lot of different things, and only use detail when they need something to be accentuated. So it's neat because as a narrative device, it kind of draws your attention, almost like in an art piece. You're being you're leading the people's attention where you want it to go. And how could this not be considered a game? This is like, we have a stealth simulator right here.
I played a game a little while ago. I don't remember what it's called. It's not an actual game, though. It was actually a play that was turned into an Oculus Rift game.
No?
So
yeah, right, that one.
All you did was sit there, and you listened to conversations between people in this bar. And I mean, you were a part of the bar. You're part of the crowd, the bar scene. You were sort of like the outsider that nobody knew, but you were overhearing everyone's conversations. And that was like a 30-40 minute thing. So that wasn't really considered a game, but it was. It was interesting.
I mean, yeah, it's I think there's like a big, you know, in general, like on Steam, for example, when you are trying to release the game. I mean, when I was looking, you have to like put a category or like a set of tags, what it is. And the tags are all sort of old school gaming tags, whether it's like action, adventure, RPG, simulation, or anything like that. When you make something like this, it's not really any of these. It has probably elements of each, but what it does have, you know, it's not really an adventure game. It's not really an action game. It's not really. It's sort of a, I don't know, like an interactive experience of whatever you want to call it. But there is no genre for it, really. There is no, you know, on Steam people still expect to see classic games.
It kind of looked like David Schwimmer.
Yeah. You should go to the bar first. I think that's interesting. Or go to the roof. It's fine.
Sorry.
No. It's just, I mean, you're playing. It's interesting to see where people go first.
I was curious.
No!
It's very engaging, isn't it?
David, no!
This is such a good-looking game.
Hey! Be
Well, I've
careful
had people
out
say
there.
it looks like a source mod from 2007.
Don't leave me alone.
Did you make the character faces, or is that?
So what happened with the characters? Well, because sort of for the sake of time and stuff, what I used is there's like a bit of visual effects previs software, which has sort of these humanoid characters, and I used those and I sort of rejigged and reanimated them and re-lip synced them.
Hey, James.
But because they already had some sort of meshes and models inside, and they had rigged faces, it sort of saved a lot of time. It does mean that, you know, a lot of the characters, some of them don't look that great. But with the time that I had and stuff, I had to be sort of, how do we make this happen in sort of 7 to 8 months with a small budget? So it was just like cut corners in a way everywhere, but try and cut corners creatively. So yeah,
I'm sorry about that.
that's and also the assets. Some of them I made myself. Some
You'll
of
be
them
okay.
we got from the Unity has like an asset store, so you can get things, and then I change the meshes, the textures, things like that. And luckily, because it's all sort of contemporary, then you can get a lot of these. A lot of people have made contemporary stuff. So I think that most of the sort of 3D models which are for sale or available for free online are either contemporary or like fantasy. So if you make a game in either of those, you're sorted.
Should we kill a guy?
You do what you want, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Click in the center. Where do you click?
It should be if it selects
There you
it, it should.
You're right,
Yeah, it goes
James.
blue.
She shouldn't have done that. I understand.
Yes, I mean there are little sort of glitches and things in it, which
I
I'm
always
trying
pick
to
them
sort
up
of
after school.
sort out as much as possible.
This is my time.
But like I was saying to you guys sort of before in Skype, it's just amazing what kind of configurations of machines people have around the world and what they come up with. I was talking to a guy the other day who had Windows Vista 32-bit with some really old AMD card, and he had some issue where like half of the building disappears.
This is beautiful, James.
And I was like,
Did your dad give
oh,
this to
dude,
you?
I'd love to help you, but
My
I have
grandfather
to
gave
find
me that.
a licensed
Father
32-bit
never made
Vista
a dime.
now. Like buy one
Just-
and then get your AMD card.
He was
It's just like, I mean, you see even with you, they're like slightly transparent in the edges, which
My dad
sometimes
said,
happens, sometimes doesn't on different configurations.
all
So
I
it's
have
it's
is a photo.
I think I spend like a lot of time just trying to figure out what's going on.
Rather he
Then again,
was
learning about shaders and things as well.
He was just
Mhm.
there.
Yeah, there's a way too much to know to get a game perfect, especially with one person.
Oh my god, yeah.
And the fact that you did it in within a year is pretty
Yeah.
impressive. Like we talked to one guy who was working on a game for 4 years alone.
Yeah. And this is beautiful cinematography as well. I love the angles of the cameras and that kind of thing, and how I do like the interactivity of the wallet. Steal his credit card. Steal his credit card. Steal the credit card. You heard giant.
These are some serious cards. You sure have provided, James.
That's all just stuff, isn't it? None of that matters now, does it?
So what does matter? You tell me.
I don't know if it's subliminal, but every time I see that sign, I'm like, just, yeah, jump.
My children. They're all.
Well, it's actually the name of the company, and there is a reason why it's called JMP. It's sort of an acronym,
What?
but it was left there, and it is true that depending on what you choose in the next set of circumstances,
Think about that, James. Be honest
you
with
can't
yourself.
get the guy to jump.
Honestly,
And
Caroline,
it is a bit of
your
a
father
sort of
died in a car
strange
you were driving,
coincidence
and you don't
slash
even
dark
remember
joke,
being
but,
there.
sort of
Whoa.
left it in.
Why are you here? Why is it always you? I wanted to lie to you, to save you at least. But what's the point? When are you going to start being honest about what happened with your dad, Caroline?
That's
It's not good enough just to forget. Every drunk night, every morning after, a reset, a fresh start. I don't know how hard you'll hit your head in that crash, but
So
every
again, that's
time
sort
they
of
try
at
to
this
help you
point, because
remember,
it's like a big
every time you get close,
twist. sort
drink
of
yourself into oblivion.
thing.
You can hardly
There
remember
is sort of
yesterday.
clues
You
to
just
this
keep drinking.
throughout the day and throughout the game.
Maybe it's not a bad thing.
And she
Maybe
sees
it's a
this
blessing.
guy, and there's like evidence of his presence in the apartment
Carol,
as well that he's been
I
around.
can never forget
Mhm.
you.
Things like
My
that.
wife will never forget what we've done.
And so just to sort of build up
Sometimes I
to
wish we'd
this,
never met all those things. That this
again,
crazy
it is
affair
a sort of.
that
Some people feel, oh my god, it's like too sudden.
Let's stop
This guy
meeting
suddenly,
again.
shows up there and like does this.
this job,
To this, but actually,
this
I
bizarre
mean,
relationship.
if people were,
I've lost
if
my
you sort of
family,
look at all the
Chris.
details and things, there is
Guess it never
the
got
stuff
old
going on, and there is
That I never
evidence
got
that this
old.
guy has been in her
How many
apartment many,
one-night
many
stands have
times
we had?
before.
Mm-hmm.
My
They
life
have this
is
thing,
ruined.
this sort of, well, crazy,
being
bizarre
punished.
relationship.
But I
It's
thought
a
I
very
could spare
dark
you some
story,
of the truth.
essentially. I mean, it's sort of it went very dark.
Well, here you are.
But it sort of felt like the natural
never
way
thought
to go. I
it'd
worked
come
with
to this.
like a screenwriter, and this is another student at the school, and basically we realized that there's no other way for it to go.
Oh yeah, we should just blame him for everything.
Blame! Blame! Find it. No.
That's interesting. That you see here, doesn't.
I don't.
Oh. Okay, let's understand. Whew.
Ah,
What have
you're a very kind man. You're understanding.
Kind.
You can't lie to someone to save them, James. And if I'm lying to myself, then so are you. I'm not important right now. Think about your children.
I want to see them so much. You think they could forgive me?
Whew.
Do you think?
This game deals with some real issues, that's for sure.
Jump. Oh, wait, she's got to take a call first.
Mom?
Interesting.
Ah, so
Interesting, I like that.
For a very, very brief moment, I thought Keith was done by Mountain Dew, but it's Martin.
Yes. Oh, there we go. The credits. Yeah. So this is one of the endings, and there's basically 4 different endings.
Okay.
Three of which are on the roof, and one of which are basically if you go to the bar instead of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
So you want to try getting one more?
We'll do one more, but yeah, I don't want to give away too much because obviously, if you guys are enjoying this and you want
Yeah.
to figure out the whole storyline, it's on Steam.
True.
You fired me 3 times.
It's very unprofessional.
Yeah, we have an awesome composer in a shed.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually
Oh, okay. And then you can go back.
so if you go to like 3 p.m. you can go to a choice.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the quickest one to do is maybe if you go to the bar. If you guys want to do another one,
Yeah.
Anyway.
Is that the 1 p.m. option?
the 3 p.m.
3 p.m.
Go to the bar.
To the bar. I like going for a drink.
Hello again. How are you feeling? How about today you give me a little less attitude and I make this one on the house?
Ooh, he's a nice
Oh.
guy.
Super nice guy.
Looks
What should
super, like, evil, but...
What should we drink?
Is that
Blurry bottle of Blurry?
Goldschlager?
Goldschlager, raspberry. I'm taking the mystery bottle.
Taking...
Yep.
Ah, it tastes really
You're
exotic,
taking the
I see.
Serbian drink. Good
Oh,
man.
cool.
Don't even know what the label.
It's like a very strong alcoholic drink that people make.
Perfect.
Oh, now you're from the perspective of the barkeep. Yeah.
Yeah, she looks like a very happy person.
She looks so happy.
Whoa, my God.
Oh!
Holy.
Oh, okay.
Oof. Wow, that was crazy.
I'm sorry, I shouldn't be laughing at that.
You're a beautiful person.
I'm so sorry. In this world, you have to have flexible morals.
Yeah. Wow. So, what is it? Zika says the game might be a little too short. So, see, there is a lot more that you can do. Like, there are 2 other endings, but a lot more to pick up on and that kind of stuff for the storyline. So, if you're interested in checking out what else it has to offer, make sure to pick it up on Steam. That was heavy. That was really heavy. Get it?
Yeah.
Yeah, quite heavy. Yeah.
Oh.
So yeah, I mean, thoughts?
I loved it. I'm always a fan of interactive narratives like this. I think that this is kind of where a lot of gaming needs to go if we want people to take us more seriously when we're talking about video games and that kind of thing. Comic books did the same thing when they became graphic novels.
Anything that's like an anti-game is fairly interesting. I played, I played a game called, I don't even know what it's called anymore, because that's how good I am. But I played a game where you start in an art gallery and the paintings turn into puzzles.
Oh, yeah.
And that technically doesn't really, you could call it a game. You couldn't, I don't know. It was different.
Mm-hmm.
It was weird.
I really like this, though. I really like the storyline. I really like when games try to tackle darker issues and very human issues. There's even, what was it called? It was a AAA game. Spec Ops: The Line.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it deals with a lot of like issues with post-traumatic stress disorder and that kind of thing. And it's interesting to try and see where the developers come from this perspective. Like in this game, I'm sure you guys noticed there was a lot of confusing stuff. It jumbled around a lot. And even the game is set in checkpoints of like arbitrary times, because from the perspective of an alcoholic who's in the middle of their own binging because of the reasons that were stated in the game, their perspective would be jumbled around and very confusing, which is why they can't remember anything. So it's really cool how you kind of translated that.
Oh, thanks, guys. Yeah, no, it's I think this is like making sort of smaller games and being so small games is actually sort of good for trying to explore these issues and sort of tackle them.
Do you have any...
Because like so like the Spec Ops: The Line sort of thing, it was a really cool game. It was really brave of them to do it.
Yeah.
But because of the size of their team, they had to do huge sections of just classic third-person shooting.
Yeah,
which,
a lot of arenas.
Don't get me wrong, is totally fine, and I don't mind having a shooting game. But I think it almost felt like in my opinion that like there was almost 2 sides to the team. There was the side of the team which wanted to sort of focus on these sort of issues about war and how it affects these people, and then the guys who are saying no, we have to sell X amount of copies because we're hiring however many people and we have a publisher and everything. So there's like a disconnect with that. I mean, even with things like sort of the newest BioShock, which is an awesome game.
Yeah,
I felt like there was a bit too much shooting. Like it was sort of overtaken by. There was some amazing thing, but I think my fondest memories of the newest BioShock was not the shooting. It was the little moments in between the shooting. But I think they just had to do good shooting sections, a lot of them, because they had to sort of please, the first-person shooter fans, and they had to make money, and that's totally understandable. But I think then the smaller developers are the ones who have to try and who can take that risk, who can say, look, I'll make a small game.
Now, do you have any plans for any future games, or is this your main focus right now?
Well, I mean, this is sort of something which it took a while to do all this. So we had to make that subtitling system which you've seen, and a lot of the legal things around it and things like that. So this is sort of out now. It's just supporting it and trying to get as many people's problems solved. But I do have a few other ideas which I'm working on, a few other concepts. But it really depends on how this does and whether it gets enough press coverage, and whether sort of I can then ask for, look, I want to make a bigger, more serious project with
Do you think you'd ever want to expand on this game to make it like a, I don't know, maybe just
a longer story,
big, huge story, or with like many different ways that it could go, or maybe different character storylines that could intertwine?
So yeah, I mean, so what sort of the initial idea was that you would have characters which are connected to the people in this game, but they're in a different city or in a different part of the world. And each game, sort of almost like an episode, will deal with a different issue, a different compulsion or obsession. And there's a few sort of basic synopsis. Sort of, it's a story that we have written. But again, as with anything else, it is quite difficult to actually get this done without a certain amount of money. And it is sort of currently looking to see what happens and how people take 4 p.m. in general, and then see whether there is a future for these things.
I think there is. I mean, it's fairly early in in the whole concept of the gameless game sort of thing. I don't want to call it that, but that just sort of popped into my head.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like it's so early in the development of these games in general. Like they fit in your hand right now.
The bottom line, though, is that the generation that made gaming popular is growing up, and we want more mature things. And there are so many points, like Extra Credits is a really good show that I watch.
Yes.
About how gaming needs to mature, and it's stuff like this that's going to do it. This type of game, or Gone Home, or Dear Esther, or whatever you want to say, even like the Stanley Parable, are going to be games that turn it into an interactive narrative experience, which will make a video game art. And I'm sure by the time this whole wave is done, we're not going to call them video games anymore, because that has its own connotation in itself.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with you. I think the name games has a certain context and certain connotations that you can't get away from. And I think some parts of this medium are games, but some other parts are not. They are still software. They are still sold as games and marketed as games.
Yeah, what would you call it?
This is a really good question. So I've been talking about this with so many people, but nobody has come up with a really good name for these things. But it's the best thing that I've heard is sort of it's an experience. But again, an experience can be anything.
Yeah.
Like an interactive experience. But then how do you shorten that? Like
interactive attraction.
For something like this, where it has like a storyline that you're trying to understand as you play it, I would call it an interactive narrative.
Okay.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
Because you're following the normal plot line of like a traditional novel or romance. Or this would be more of a fiction. So you're following the traditional plot line of like a novella fiction. So it would still be a narrative.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, I think
it brings up a lot of it's good. It's good in the sense that it brings up a lot of discussion on what is, what isn't, and what should be.
Sure.
Right.
Well, yeah. I mean, that I think I will start using that if you're okay with it. Interactive narrative.
Yeah, of course.
Yes.
I'll say the guys from Indie Game Magazine helped in getting the word across and pushing for a proper naming convention.
There you go, everybody. Even you people watching on YouTube, we're coining the phrase.
This is patent pending.
Yeah, patent pending.
Totally. 10% for each, so I think that's enough. Cool.
All right.
That being said, I mean, thank you so much for joining us, Boyan. It was a pleasure playing for.
Oh, thank you.
It was short but sweet.
I'm going to be playing a lot of this offline. I want to.
You want to go and
experience
all of it?
Yeah, I want everything out of this. I really like
roll
this
that
experience.
in a bag of potato chips. Okay.
But if you guys are interested, make sure to pick it up on Steam. This game is a steal. It's a super low price for the content and the level of game and narrative that you're getting, just on the visuals alone and the design that's put into it. Even the option screen, I loaded into the game and I was like, oh man, my wife would love this. She's a designer. She has a degree in design, so yeah, she would love this kind of. And your credits were very well done too. So.
Oh, thanks.
Mm-hmm.
I would say your next step would make this Oculus Rift.
Oh man, I don't.
Rift, you think?
Yeah, then you would not only have the market for the interactive narrative, but you'd also have the market for dance simulator.
There's a huge there would be a huge problem with that though.
Yeah.
The problem with the Oculus is a lot of times people that complain about the Oculus is when their perspective is moving around and their body is not. And so when you're walking in this game and you're kind of stumbling or things are blurred and the head is kind of knocking around, it's going to completely disconnect you and give you motion sickness.
So you need to force them to get up and start boogieing down.
Yeah,
That's all you do.
They need to put weights in the Oculus helmet, which will be the Oculus Rift 3.0,
Okay.
and then it'll move your head around for you.
That makes sense.
Nice.
You put in some gyroscopes.
Yeah.
And then your head gets knocked around purposely. Okay, there we go. Patent pending.
Patent
You heard it
pending.
here first.
I think, yeah, I mean, the thing is, if you know, if I might just sit down and say, like, fuck it, let's do a, sorry, I shouldn't swear, but yeah, let's do an Oculus port. But yeah,
Try it out.
if we do it, then yeah, it has to be like all the motion effects and things have
You
to
can
be
keep
switched
the
off.
blur
Yeah,
in, but
exactly.
just the shaking which just needs to be taken out.
But
The things like even
That's the
with the
problem.
blur, yeah, it's like so.
the blur is because she's an alcoholic. Her life is a blur.
Yeah.
And the stumbling around is also because, guess what? She's an alcoholic.
But like what you can technically do is you can set it so that the person's view is skewed instantly, so they have to move their head to straighten it up, and that could, you know, kind of add sort of that sort of interaction.
Yeah, that's true. That's
or
true.
you can tell people they need to take a couple shots before they play.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
The interactive narrative, making one alcoholic at a time.
Yeah, well, we don't want people to start drinking because
Oh right, okay, yeah, no, drinking's bad.
I don't
drink.
want to be responsible for that.
No.
Yeah,
no,
no,
no
I haven't-
smoking any alcohol here.
No weed
Yeah,
needles.
I mean, I think like the next subject for video games really is sex. I think like it hasn't been. I mean, although the Wolfenstein, I heard like the new Wolfenstein does a bit of that.
There
Yeah.
has been a couple games in the past that have added sex, and it's
River
just
City
been
Ransom.
really awkward.
Yeah, I can imagine. I mean, and again, it's such a. I mean, like people have complained that this is like a touchy and a crude issue. I mean, I can't imagine how
Yeah.
one would sex
Well-
in like a serious way.
The
Well,
best
the
way.
other problem is that North America is so prudish when it comes to sex, is that they would rather show a person's head getting cut off with a machete versus a boob.
The best way,
Yeah.
this is the other problem, the best way to overcome the uncanny valley. So what the uncanny valley is when something starts looking a bit realistic but isn't quite there, our brain freaks out and goes, oh my god, what the hell is wrong with that
It
thing?
looks extra creepy.
So for animations, the best way to get over the uncanny valley is motion capture. Let's just mull that over for a minute.
They're coming up with increasingly better motion capture.
Yeah, so... but again, thank you, Boyan. We are going to be taking a quick break here. I need to go take an ice bath because it's like 30 degrees Celsius in Canada. What the hell is wrong with this planet?
I thought we were safe from the global warming.
Right?
Well, but I think most of the pollution happens on that North American continent, unfortunately. Not you
Yeah.
guys, but USA. So
We're the closest
yeah.
people to get their crap. though.
Well, I think we're second to China right now.
Yeah.
We're not gonna play the blame game, especially on our show, because we're inclusive.
No.
Yeah, sadly-
Thanks for having me, guys. It's been a pleasure, and I hope to talk to you guys soon.
Oh yes,
Thanks.
we'll keep in touch, definitely.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yep.
Have a good one.
And we will be right back with some commercials. We'll be back with Default Dan.
Also, Savvy in chat said that, oh, if it's hot out, just get a Slurpee. This was a Slurpee.
14 minutes ago.
Anyway, we will be back in a few short minutes, guys. Thanks so much for sticking with us.